Welcome to part 2 of modeling, texturing, and animating realistic foliage in the Blender game engine. To get started, we're going to get out of the Blender game engine and head over to Photoshop, or your favorite photo manipulation program. Mine just happens to be Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some images that I got offline. Okay. To get started, I'm going to rasterize all of these and then scale them down. This one's going to need a bit of detail, so let's go ahead and get that done right away. I'm going to grab my pen tool and go around these edges real quick. Okay, so I've gone ahead and placed all my images down, and I think that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is File, Save for Web, make sure transparency is enabled, and make sure it's a PNG. Okay, now what we can go ahead and do is head back into Blender and start having some fun. I'm going to bring in a new material and call it foliage, and bring in our texture. Going to enable alpha. Okay. Now what we can do is I'm going to unwrap this, and we can open our image. So, as you can see, it's hitting it strangely because the light is at a weird angle. There we go. Bring a plane in here. Okay, let's start off by making some grass. So let's move this up and scale it down. Like so. Alright, then what we can do is set this to alpha clip, and we'll go ahead and add some normal to that. We'll set that to 0.5 and hit intensity and and color. That looks pretty good. So now what we can do is duplicate this and move this over. Maybe scale this in a little bit. Copy this one and move it over. Okay, now what we can do is start combining these to create some realistic looking grass tufts. And to make this easier, I'm just going to join them all. Okay, let's set up some better lighting here. Start off, let's get a better angle on our stuff. Get a better color on it. Let's make sure this is set to variance. We can show our box if we want to see what's going to get affected. Scale it up to change the size of that box. What we can do is copy this and rotate it around in the other direction and remove the shadow, lower the energy, and change the color. We're going to change this to a nice green as if it's bouncing off some grass. Nice light lime green. Okay. As you can see, that's looking better already. Hey, what's happening here? Oops. Okay. So, obviously you want to create a lot more than just these. We can do just create a little cube essentially of grass that will animate together, and then we can copy and paste this and move it around. So this will be our grass, and we'll push that over there. And then we can take this flower and scale it down a little bit. And I'm going to start off by applying the plant texture to this guy here. And making sure that it's on a pretty flower. So if we scale that down a little bit, you can see that looks a little better. Just kind of have to tweak it a little bit. And then we can go ahead and add some leaves. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to delete this leaf and start from scratch. So let's cursor to selected. I'm going to add in a new leaf. Just scale X and unwrap it. Let's make sure this is assigned to this. move it up. Like that. Make sure that's as close to the stem as possible. Okay, what we can do is scale this down, move it over a little bit, and add a loop cut to that. Okay, now what we'll do is look from the bottom view here, and we can go ahead and start adding in some leaves. You can see we've got a nice looking flower here, especially buried amongst our grass. It looks quite nice. So let's go ahead and copy this over a few times. And the idea behind creating a material for the petals instead of a texture is now we can go ahead and change the color for this. And then for these two, we can actually delete these petals here and grab this outside edge. Let's make sure we're assigned to this, and I'm going to extrude it and scale it out. Then I'm going to add a loop cut and look from the side, and I'm going to bring that out. Then what we can do is grab this and unwrap it again, and basically move it right over one of these lovely pre-made flower textures. And you can see that's two different ways of doing the flowers. Obviously this one looks way more realistic, but if you want to do some really easy variants, you can do it this way. Something I think I'm going to do is actually just texture that all as a plant stem. I think that'll just look a little bit better than having this texture just sloppily thrown in there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's brighten this up a little bit. Okay. Now we can go ahead and do is move this one over and grab this leaf, or this flower, sorry, and just scale it over this flower. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. There is a clipping there, I thought so. So we're going to go ahead and move that up. And there's also some... Where is it? By this petal. Okay. Better? Something's still a little weird here. Oh well. It looks pretty good. Yeah, so there you go. Some different flowers there. Obviously, this is probably a better option for a game because it's a lower poly count and the textures just look more realistic than using materials. But if you want to save on texture files, you can certainly do it with materials as well. Okay. Now we can go ahead and do is grab one of our leaf textures here, and I'm going to unwrap it and assign it to the foliage material. And we want to make sure that this is facing the right way, which it is, so we can go ahead and move it to the correct position, and that's that. Now what we can do is move this and scale it a little bit, and head into edit mode, grab all of this, and start rotating it and copying it. Okay, and then what we could do is make some much smaller leaves and have these just coming out the top here, making their way out. Okay, we can go ahead and scale this fern down a little bit. And I'm going to scale it up a little bit. That looks pretty good, I think. Okay. Now what we can do is basically the same thing. I want to make sure we can see some of that stem though. Okay. Yeah, basically the same thing, but with this leaf. So it'll actually be a lot easier to just copy this, move it over, and then bring this out a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's set this to median point so we can actually take a look at these. Now the normal map really helps get some of that detail out. If you look at it really close, obviously it looks awful, but passing by in a video game, I think that looks pretty good. Okay. I think I'm going to bump this normal up a tad. I think that'll help. Yeah, maybe a full one that looks doesn't look too shabby. Maybe 0.7. Yeah, okay, that looks better. Okay. So yeah, we've got a couple of ferns here, we've got some grass here, we've got some plants here. Now, we're just gonna make our two other plants here. Okay, so we've got a nice little bushel of leaves here. And with this last texture here, we can go ahead and do something a little different. So let's add in our cube. Okay. And that's it. I'd like to thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we've got ourselves some nice low poly foliage. This entire scene is under 2,000 vertices. And in the next episode, we'll be animating it. In a future episode, I'll be doing a course on how to use most of these assets in an actual game environment. So we'll be putting together a small game. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you'll join me for the third part of this course. Have a good day. Bye-bye.